This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Tuesday, May 23rd, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. Columbus-based Cummins plans to acquire two commercial vehicle system manufacturing plants from France-based automotive supplier Faurecia for about $153 million, the companies announced today. One of the plants is in Columbus and the other is in the Netherlands. Both plants are part of Faurecia's Clean Mobility division. Faurecia opened its 400,000 square foot digital manufacturing plant in Columbus in 2016 at a cost of $64 million. The plant makes emissions control products. The acquisition is expected to close by the end of the year. The deal will also help Faurecia's parent company, Forvia Group, in its previously announced goal of divesting €1 billion in assets by the end of 2023. A pair of talent development programs in the Indiana Uplands region have received a total of nearly $2.1 million in funding from the state's READY program. The funding will support the expansion of the Upskill Work and Learn program for high school juniors and seniors and the Code IT Academy at nonprofit startup accelerator The Mill to all 11 counties in the southwest central Indiana region. Graham Rahal will get a chance to keep his Indianapolis 500 start streak intact after all, replacing the injured Stefan Wilson today in the Dreyer and Reinbold entry after failing to qualify for the race with his own team. Wilson was hospitalized with a fractured vertebra following a crash in practice yesterday. Wilson qualified 25th in the 33-car field, ahead of all three Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan entries, but the driver change means Rahal will start last. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indiana, it's time to get revved up. Inside Indiana Business is going racing. We'll be at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the month of May and take you inside the business of motorsports, from gasoline alley to high-tech race shops to small-town dirt tracks. We'll explore what fuels a billion-dollar industry in the state. Join the entire Inside Indiana Business team from the world's greatest racecourse for Business at the Brickyard, brought to you by Purdue University. It's checkered flag coverage you won't want to miss.
It's been more than a year since Evansville Regional Airport lost flight service to and from Chicago and Detroit, but business and community leaders are pushing to restore the northern routes that they say are key to the region's growth and economy. Ronald Romaine, executive chairman of United Companies, said financial support from the Evansville Regional Business Committee and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation is allowing the community to return to the airlines and plead its case.
There's a proposal, or soon will be a proposal, in front of the airlines to consider coming back here with that financial support.
Romaine said the impact of losing the flights is significant for a city that's home to 5 Fortune 1000 businesses and several large corporation operations centers. The Indiana legislature last month approved an additional $5 million per year over the next 2 years to provide the IEDC and the state's airports the ability to work with airlines to expand service throughout the U.S. and around the world. Indianapolis-based developer Kendall Property Group plans to relocate its headquarters to a new 20,000 square foot multi-tenant building it will construct at Creekside Corporate Park in Zionsville. The real estate company purchased a nearly 91,000 square foot lot at the corporate park along West 106th Street for $300,000 and expects to break ground on the 2-story building this fall. The company, currently headquartered on the northwest side of Indianapolis, said it plans to spend up to $6 million on the new building, where it will employ 55 to 75 employees with average annual salaries of $70,000. A startup based at the Purdue Research Park is capitalizing on the increased use of drones by law enforcement and is gaining national and global attention. Uniform Sierra Aerospace was founded by 3 Purdue alumni after they took part in federally funded research on the use of drones for first responders. Co-founder and CEO Duncan Mulgrew.
The interest has really skyrocketed. There were recently laws passed down in Florida that outlaw the use of Chinese-built drones or drones using Chinese components. So the fact that we're fully built in the U.S. and we have versions of the aircraft available to use only U.S. and European parts so we can sell to those agencies down in Florida is huge.
The company is preparing to close on a seed round of funding, enabling a move into a larger 2,500 square foot production space at the Purdue Technology Center to ramp up manufacturing beginning next month. The first phase of the South Shoreline's double track project could open later this summer. Lakeshore Public Radio's Michael Gallenberger reports.
Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District President Mike Nolan says construction's wrapping up on the improvements between Michigan City and Dune Park.
Tracks all in, the crossroads are all in, the overhead catenary's in, the signal system's in.
Nolan told the NICD board Monday that train service between Michigan City and Dune Park will likely resume in mid-August, while busing will continue from there to Gary Metro Center.
And we do appreciate our riders' patience as we get through this construction cycle. It's not easy. We knew it was going to be an impact on our riders and can't wait to get out of it.
Installing a second track also means building new bridges over streets and other railroads. Crews also have to finish improvements at the Miller and Ogden Dune stations. When the full double-track project opens in May 2024, there will be 14 additional trains to Chicago. Construction on the Westlake Corridor branch from Hammond to Dyer is about 25% complete. Nolan says the elevated portion in Hammond is starting to take shape, along with the rest of the future line.
There's rail being laid. There's platforms installed at 173rd Street. So there's a tremendous amount of activity going on.
While there have been some delays, Nolan still hopes construction will wrap up in November 2024, with service to start in May of 2025. Once Westlake and Double Track are done, the 26 additional trains will have to have somewhere to go. NICD is partnering with Metra to fix a potential bottleneck between 11th Street and Millennium Station by converting a storage track into a fourth mainline track. But Nolan says the loan construction bid the railroads received ended up being significantly higher than expected.
After careful evaluation, we made the tough decision to say we're going to accept a much higher bid and go forward, because the likelihood that we repackage this and get a lower price tag was not strong, and it would probably cost us at least a year.
Nolan says many firms that would typically bid are already booked up with other projects. Metra's board last week approved an almost $96 million contract with FH Passion, which is also involved in the Westlake project. The Metra board also approved almost $12 million in contracts for track and signal work, along with related equipment. As it currently stands, NICD will be responsible for the majority of the funding, with Metra only contributing $4 million. NICD's board is expected to consider issuing the necessary bonds for the project later this year, with work scheduled to be complete in late 2025. For Lakeshore News, I'm Michael Gallenberger.
Penske Entertainment Chief Diversity Officer Jimmy McMillian is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.